For your Tier 3 resource this month, I have for you an Appropriate Behaviors Primary Individual Curriculum. So let's talk about why you should use individual counseling with littles. A lot of times we think about individual counseling with our older students, and it may seem kind of difficult to do with the little ones, but these primary kiddos have needs too. But there are some things you want to consider when working with the young ones. You want to make sure that your curriculum is highly interactive and hands-on, and you want it to be proactive and preventative. So this appropriate behaviors is something awesome that you can teach. January is the start of the new year. It's a great time to revisit those class norms and expectations. So if you have some students who you think might struggle with that, or maybe they struggled with it last semester, this is a great way to get ahead of it. So here's a sneak peek of what it looks like in action. You'll receive some feelings check posters. So you're going to ask the students how they're feeling and why at the start of each session. I always encourage you to have the posters available for a visual aid, especially for our little guys. And then you always want to model this clearly as well. You'll receive a counselor's guide that has those ASCA standards and objectives, along with any supplemental materials or counselor tips. And it includes 5 activities. So the activities are appropriate language card sort, a figurine role play, a balloon pop activity, coping strategy scavenger hunt, and appropriate behavior or language trail mix activity. So for the card sort, the kids are going to simply sort the cards, which ones are appropriate things to say and which ones are not. So this is almost like a social filter activity, but they're sorting appropriate versus inappropriate language. The figurine role play, this one's great if you have any Legos or small figurines, and you can help them act out how someone is using appropriate language in the classroom. So that's a great one. It's fun, it's hands-on, and then they're getting to do a little role play. Then the balloon pop activity. So you will need a balloon for this one, and you're going to pop it, which might make you cringe. But first, the kids have to decide the appropriate reaction and location. So, the appropriate location would probably be outside, so it's not noisy or startling at school. And the appropriate reaction would probably be like, wow, not hiding or freaking out. Then there's the coping strategy scavenger hunt. So this one's fun. You're going to need some props like a calculator, headphones, pencils, markers, things that you likely already have around the school. And then they're going to find the ones that represent the different coping strategies. So for example, a calculator has numbers on it, so it would represent counting to 10. Or headphones could represent listening to music. And then they're going to circle the coping strategies they would like to try. But this scavenger hunt's a really fun way to get kids up and moving before they do the worksheet. And then the trail mix activity. So this one's fun. Each part of the trail mix will represent a different positive behavior or language choice. So the kids are going to make trail mix together with you. So, grab nuts and raisins and dried fruit. And then as they do, they're going to pick different ones. So they may say, okay, completing your work, I'm going to use that one for dried fruit. Or raising your hand in class, I'm going to use that one for these dates or cherries or nuts or whatever. Now it is trail mix, and a lot of kids have nut allergies, so you do want to be mindful of this. Please make sure that no one has a nut allergy before you do this, or make sure any dietary restrictions, you want to be careful about that before you do any kind of food. I'm sure you already know that. But you could do fruit salad as an alternative where they're doing like grapes and strawberries, sliced banana, things like that. Or if you want to avoid food altogether, you could make this more of a craft and do like, different color fuzzy balls or pipe cleaners or things like that. And I have for you some data tracking tools. So there's 2. There's like a rating scale and a self-assessment. So the self-assessment, again, we're keeping them super simple because these are our primary kiddos. So you can read them the questions like, I behave appropriately at school, I use appropriate language at school, things like that. And then they're going to color in, no, sometimes, or yes. And you want to get their name and date, and then you'll send the same one at the end of the last session so you can see how they progressed as a result of your counseling services. And then you'll see the rating scale there. So they're going to just kind of each session, put their clip on how they're doing that day. Are they making good choices? Sometimes, almost always. Are they not making good choices? Again, they're just going to kind of check in, and then you can just make a note of this, and you can laminate this, and they'll check in each time, reuse it. And I have some data tools for parents and teachers as well. So you want to send out these behavior surveys. So these will ask questions like, the student knows how to manage outbursts, the student uses appropriate language at school or at home, the student responds to frustration appropriately, and then the teachers and parents will rank it on never, rarely, sometimes, often, or almost always. And then you can use this data to see how it compares to the students' data, to their own self-assessment, and among the different environments. So you can say, okay, well at school we're seeing this, but at home we're seeing this. Are these things different or are they similar? And of course I have for you some digital versions. So I have the digital version for the self-assessment. The kids, if they're proficient using the iPad, they can just click, click, click instead of coloring, whichever they would like to do better, and then that auto saves the responses for you with a timestamp and everything. So that's nice. And then with those behavior surveys, you can send them to parents and teachers. Just snag the link and send it to them. And again, their responses will be saved digitally as well. Okay, I hope you guys love that individual curriculum.